GMT. At bbcworldservice.com, World Questions with Johnny Diamond.
All about Norway. This small northern European country is one of the richest in the world, but suddenly it faces so many of the problems that challenge the rest of wealthy Europe.
The Arts Hour is next. This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Coming up on the Arts Hour with me, Nikki Beattie, Oscar-winning actor George Clooney on his latest directorial work, the film The Boys in the Boat.
Privilege is a very difficult thing to overcome. And sometimes the best way to overcome it is by skill and determination. And these guys are that's an example of it. It's why we like films like this. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps and beat the people who had all the advantages.
Actors Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe talk about their film, the utterly outstanding and brilliantly bonkers Poor Things, and the Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who's written her first children's book. Also on the show, my conversation with the Spanish director J.A. Bayona, whose film Society of the Snow tells the real-life story of the survivors of the Uruguayan plane crash in the Andes in 1972. And we have the award-winning Indian comedian Uruj Ashfaq with us in the studio. All that and more coming up on the Arts Hour.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. Donald Trump has urged Americans to come together to straighten out the world after his commanding win in the Iowa caucuses. Gary O'Donoghue in Iowa says this isn't the end of the competition.
There are still other races to go. And his two main opponents, Nikki Haley, the former UN ambassador, and Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, they are sticking in this race. And we go to New Hampshire next week. And Nikki Haley, is a bit closer to Donald Trump in that race. And the independent voters may give her a little chance of making a dent in his lead there. Let's put it that way.
Health officials in Ethiopia's Tigray region have renewed their warnings about starvation. They said the crisis was compounded by the effects of drought and civil war. Kalkadan Yebotel reports from Addis Ababa.
According to health officials quoted by Tigray's regional TV, 209 people, including children, have died in the town of Adaga Arbi alone. In another area, 16 individuals displaced by the brutal 2-year civil war have lost their lives due to hunger. In recent weeks, districts and towns across Tigray have reported deaths as the region continues to reel from the compounded effects of a devastating war and the worst drought in decades. The federal government rejects the notion of famine, a highly sensitive word in Ethiopia, but admits drought is impacting millions. According to the UN, more than 20 million people require food assistance in Ethiopia due to conflicts, drought, and flooding.
The US military has described an Iranian missile attack into northern Iraq as reckless and imprecise. Tehran claims it destroyed anti-Iranian targets. Here's our security correspondent, Frank Gardner.
Iran is claiming that this was a spy center by Israel's Mossad intelligence agency. It could be that this is some kind of tit-for-tat retaliation for Israel's targeting of senior Iranian Revolutionary Guards commanders in Syria. There's a kind of constant, ongoing, low-level tit-for-tat. Israel targets various figures in Lebanon and Syria who it considers are planning attacks against Israel.
The Israeli military says its troops have killed dozens of Hamas militants in northern Gaza. It also said they'd discovered a weapons cache. Yolande Nell reports.
Israeli forces are said to have killed the Palestinian fighters near the town of Bet Lahia and found rockets and rocket launchers. The announcement comes after Palestinian armed groups continued to fire missiles into southern Israel in recent days. The Defense Minister Yoav Gallant says Israel's now ended the intensive stage of its ground offensive in northern Gaza and that it will soon be over in Khan Yunis in the south as well. Residents said that Israeli planes and tanks have continued to pound Gaza, with dozens killed in the past day, including children.
BBC News. The Indian Supreme Court has halted plans for a survey of a 17th century mosque in the northern city of Mathura to determine if it contains Hindu religious relics. On Monday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will preside over a lavish ceremony to inaugurate a massive temple in Ayodhya, built on the site of a mosque that was destroyed. South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol has threatened the north with overwhelming force after Pyongyang designated Seoul its primary enemy. Relations between the two neighbours are at a low point, as Mickey Bristow reports.
Mr. Yoon was responding to a speech by Kim Jong-un in which the North Korean leader said he would not avoid war with the South. Mr. Kim also said Pyongyang should prepare to reclaim South Korea. Unification, he said, was no longer possible. Mr. Yoon promised to punish any provocation. Verbal exchanges between the two countries are often unpleasant, particularly from North Korea, but the language has sharpened over the last year or so, and more worryingly, both sides are building up their military strength.
In a continued crackdown on independent media, police in Azerbaijan have arrested a journalist and placed another in pre-trial detention. The Interior Ministry said Shaheen Rizayev from Jam News would be detained for 15 days for hooliganism. Separately, a court in Baku ordered that the reporter Elnara Gasimova be held on smuggling charges until April. After a 4-month delay because of the Hollywood strikes, the Emmys have finally taken place in Los Angeles. Succession, which followed the dysfunctional family of a media mogul, took 6 awards, including Best Drama, for the 3rd time. The Bear also picked up 6, beating Ted Lasso, which had been the favourite to win Best Comedy. Beef dominated the limited series category, winning 5 Emmys. World News from the BBC.
Hello and welcome to the Arts Hour on the BBC World Service. I'm Nikki Beattie, and over the next 60 minutes I'll be bringing you cinematic superstars, Uruguayan survival, Indian comedy and some cultural companionship with the finest global arts and culture conversation from across the BBC. Coming up on today's show, in just a moment, Oscar-winning actor George Clooney, with his director's head on, talks about The Boys in the Boat. Fellow Oscar winner Emma Stone and her co-star Willem Dafoe on the utterly outstanding original and brilliantly bonkers film Poor Things. Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie on her first children's book, and my conversation with the Spanish director J.A. Bayona, whose film Society of the Snow tells the real-life story of the Uruguayan plane crash in the Andes in 1972 and what the survivors had to do. That's not all, though. My guests on today's Arts Hour are Indian comedy star Uruj Ashfaq, and we welcome back as our cultural critic Rich Klein. So before we go any further, do you both have a cultural highlight that you want to recommend? Rich, I'll come to you first.
Well, mine is a bit lowbrow, perhaps.
There's no such thing as lowbrow.
Exactly. I'm gonna refer to the Golden Globes on Sunday night because I am a voter. I vote in them. So this is my 2nd year voting. I'm one of the international group they brought in because they've dissolved the Hollywood branch of it, and basically it's voted on now by people around the world, which you can kind of see in the winners. It's not like their old winners used to be. And I was really happy that Anatomy of a Fall won 2 big awards, yes, and Poor Things won the comedy award, which was really a great thing to win. I was a little sad that Past Lives and The Zone of Interest didn't win, but they were nominated. We nominated them. And so I still have hopes for them when BAFTA and Oscar come up, because those are both film awards that are coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Also, they're film awards that I lay great store in the judges for. But now that I know you vote for the Golden Globes...
Well, they offered me a place, and I thought, instead of sitting around complaining about it, which I've been doing for 30 years, why don't I get in there and
make a difference?
So
Excellent.
I have one vote. It's not that big of a difference.
Thank you, and I don't think that's lowbrow. Uruj, what about you?
My cultural recommendation would be 2 movies by a director that I really like. His name is Chaitanya Tamhane, and the movies are Court and Disciple.
Disciple was amazing.
Yes, I think he's incredible. I think he does things that people don't do in Indian cinema, and I would recommend you watch these movies because they are extremely personal, and he's a Maharashtrian.
So am I.
So am I.
I'm a Mulgaonkar. What are you?
I'm Dingankar. Yeah, we're both Kars.
We're Kars.
Kars.
This is phenomenal. That's also why when I saw Disciple, I thought, these are my people and they're speaking Marathi. I don't speak Marathi, by the way.
Okay.
But yes, oh, what a great recommendation.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. First then, Oscar winner for both his acting and producing, George Clooney is also a director. And in that role, his latest film is The Boys in the Boat. It tells the true story of how in just a year, 8 working class students from Seattle went from total beginners as rowers to winning gold at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. The film is rich with class politics. Set against the backdrop of the Great Depression, the film focuses on Joe, played by the British actor Callum Turner, a homeless but ambitious teenager who volunteers for the University of Washington rowing squad, mainly because it offers a small salary. Over the course of the film, we see how the elite old universities like Harvard and Princeton changed the rules when this upstart team began to threaten their dominance. The BBC's Samira Ahmed spoke to George Clooney and Callum Turner, asking George what drew him to telling this story.
This was a book I loved. It's a huge bestseller. I thought it was cinematic when I read the book. I thought there was a movie to be made there. I forgot that we'd have to make it on water, which complicates things. But I like stories that if they weren't real life stories, you wouldn't believe that those things happen. You wouldn't believe that the kid gets sick and they miss the start and the other coach gives them the money. You wouldn't believe those things happen. So I like a story like that.
Part of what's amazing, given it is a real story, is the speed of their progression from being a bunch of amateurs who, not even amateurs, they're signing up having never rowed before and they get picked to the Olympics in what time frame?
It was a year.
So what do you make of how unique that experience was and why it happened?
Why it happened is easy. It was necessity. These guys, they rowed because they needed to eat. Literally, they needed to eat. They didn't have they didn't have money for food. They didn't have money for school. So this was survival. They were all lumberjacks, and the trickiest part is you're rowing against these legacy schools where rowing is funded and they've been doing it for 50 years.
These are the places like Harvard
and Yale and all of them. And they had to beat all of those guys. And they did, Cornell and all those big sort of legacy schools.
You mentioned this sense of privilege versus these working class boys. And in the film, it becomes very clear how when this team from the University of Washington start to win and progress, the rules get changed on them to try and get the elite schools a chance of actually being at the Olympics instead of them. Tell me about how important that theme was, because it's threaded through the film, isn't it?
Well, it's threaded through our lives, isn't it? I mean, we've all had it. We've all seen it. Privilege is a very difficult thing to overcome. And sometimes the best way to overcome it is by skill and determination. And these guys that's an example of it. It's why we like films like this. Well, it's why we like stories like this is you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and, beat the people who had all the advantages.
And 1936, the setting, it's right in the Great Depression. Joe could be straight out of the grapes of wrath. It really does depict the grinding poverty. And it does something I think you hear relatively rarely in American cinema, the phrase working class. And I wonder why that was important to both of you and how important it was.
For me, I'm from a council estate in Chelsea, and I grew up looking at houses that were £10 million and going to school that was with people that didn't have anything. And, to represent someone like me is a great honor. And you're right, we don't see it. And I think what George done, which is so beautiful, is just tell the truth rather than there's no mollycoddling. It is what it is, and he does what he does. I don't like those films where you see working class people depicted as villains or in a dark way. It's just he's a very normal bloke who goes and does something extraordinary.
George Clooney and Callum Turner talking about their film The Boys in the Boat. My guests on today's Arts Hour with me in the studio are comedian Uruj Ashfaq and Rich Klein is our cultural commentator. Rich, thoughts on the film first of all?
It starts out and you think, oh, this is going to be one of those underdogs come out of nowhere and change the world stories. And it is really quite amazing. What they go through, what they have to face, and the obstacles they face are really impressive. I thought the film itself is just a bit dull.
Okay.
It doesn't really have the story isn't told with much point of view. The characters don't have very much depth. I didn't really identify with anyone in the story. They're very well played. The actors are good, but I thought that the script wasn't very deep. And I was surprised because George Clooney is usually a really interesting director. He adds all sorts of little touches.
Uruj, does Indian cinema have that similar tradition in its storytelling, caste and class and the underdog making good?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are a nation of rooting for underdogs. Even in our romance movies, there's always an underdog who gets the girl, or just in general, there's someone who's, I think, breaking from caste and class oppression is always an undertone in most Indian movies. especially like sports biopics and stuff. I have to say though, I didn't know before we heard this clip that George Clooney was directing movies.
Oh yes,
I thought he was just being handsome all the time. This was so great to know. But no, when it comes to sports movies, we have a few. There's Mary Kom, which is about a boxer. She's an Olympic gold medal winning boxer. Actually, no, she won the Asian Games and the Commonwealth Games. She won a gold medal. And she's the daughter of a rice farmer. So it is, again, an underdog, rising up the ranks. And another movie, which I really like, is this movie called Pan Singh Tomar. I think that started the trend of sports biopics in India. And now there's so many, especially with cricket, because we're obsessed with cricket. It's about this man from Bihar who joined the army. And they asked him if he wants to join the athletic team. And he did, because he could eat unlimited food if he was in the athletic team. But if he was in the regular army, they had like only a set amount of ration. So that's why he joined that team. And then he was so good at it, he went for a what is it called? Steeple chasing. And then later on in the movie, he becomes an outlaw and a rebel and kills people. That's it. That's
Okay, that's the end.
That sounds like a great movie.
Yes, you should watch it.
Thank you both so much. You're listening to the Arts Hour on the BBC World Service with me, Nikki Bedi. And as we approach the big film award season, I've already made up my mind which films are the best of the year. And in my top 3 is Poor Things, directed by the utterly original Greek filmmaker Yorgos Lanthimos and starring Emma Stone. It's exquisitely odd, as you might expect from the creator of the Oscar-winning film The Favourite and earlier films The Lobster and Dogtooth. It's steampunk, science fiction in a historical setting, and it's a kind of reimagining of the Frankenstein story. Emma Stone plays Bella Baxter, and Willem Dafoe plays the mad scientist Dr. Godwin Baxter, who's created her. And throughout the film, Bella, in her eagerness to learn, is whisked away around the world by the caddish Duncan Wedderburn, played by Mark Ruffalo. Based on a novel by Alistair Gray, it's funny, sumptuous, sexy, and highly imaginative. When Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo spoke to Graham Norton, he asked Emma what it is that keeps her working with Yorgos Lanthimos. She must really trust him.
I do. We've now done 4 films together. Poor Things was our third, and we had been talking about it since we finished making The Favourite in 2017. So it took about 4.5 years to all come together. And I was a producer on Poor Things. So there was a lot of discussion. It's based on a book by Alistair Gray, and Tony McNamara, who wrote The Favourite, wrote Poor Things. And so, I loved them both. I had worked with them both before, and then we had these incredible actors join, and unbelievable production design and costumes and all of these, fantastical elements. And so, I just really trust that he's going to execute something unique and just pretty remarkable.
And here's actor Willem Dafoe, who plays the unorthodox scientist. He was very keen to be part of Poor Things.
Emma Stone, who was involved very early in the process.
Yes.
Yorgos had worked with her on The Favourite, and they really created a bond. They called me up, and as soon as they pitched it to me and told me this, basically the role, I said, fine. Emma is easy, I mean, she has, it's a wonderful performance, and she had lots of challenges, but she never wears it, she's not a diva, she's flexible, she's funny, she's cool.
Yeah.
She's cool. I enjoy her a lot. It's set in a imagined Victorian era with some invented things. So it's a sort of a fantasized Victorian era. And I am a scientist, and I deal with cadavers and such things in my work. And one day I get a cadaver to do some work, and I realize there's a child inside this woman that has suicided. So the most natural thing to me is to put the baby's brain in the woman's body and reanimate her. And that's where we start. And that's and then it's really about her going out into the world. This is Bella. Bella, this is Mr. McCandles.
Hello, Bella.
Oh, she's an experiment.
Good evening.
Her brain and her body are not quite synchronized, but she's progressing at an accelerated pace. But when you enter that world, because it's so well designed and so specific and so there was no way to prepare for this because this world was very specific. But once you arrived, it almost told you what to do.
Yeah.
There was such detail and such depth to the costumes, to the art direction.
I am Bella Baxter, and there is a world to enjoy, circumnavigate. It is the goal of all to progress, grow.
A woman plotting her course to freedom. How delightful.
Willem Dafoe. Do see Poor Things in a movie theatre if you get the chance. My guests on today's Arts Hour are Rich Klein, film critic and our cultural commentator, and comedian Uruj Ashfaq. Rich, did you love Poor Things?
I adored it. I mean, it's in my top 10 for the year. It's one of those movies where you realize very early on that you just have to hang on for the ride because you don't know where this is going or what's going to happen because it exists in a world that I've never seen on film. It's a fantasy story that just takes off, even though you kind of recognize elements of Frankenstein in it. It's not Frankenstein.
No.
It's very different because it's this woman and she has this infant's brain. So she's growing up and learning about the world without outside pressures of politics and religion and all of these issues. And so it just goes rocketing off in completely insane directions that are so powerful and meaningful, but they're hilarious.
So Yorgos Lanthimos is an exciting and daring director. We know that. Who else has such a personal and idiosyncratic filmmaking approach?
I mean, the thing about Yorgos Lanthimos is he's never made a movie like this. So, his movies are all quite daring and out there, but they're quite distinctly different stylistically. But if you talk about some filmmakers who have real stylistic signatures, someone like Tim Burton is the most obvious one, because even Poor Things almost has a Tim Burton-esque feel to it.
Yes, that's true.
Where everything is just slightly heightened. There's shapes and colors that mean something, and it's I think he's probably the most obvious. But then there's people like Wes Anderson who also uses color and composition. There's the Coen brothers, who have some really distinct visual styles. David Lynch is another one that I would mention because his films all seem to exist in this same surreal universe.
Yeah. Uruj, what about Indian directors or any other directors that you think have an exciting, daring approach?
I'm gonna go back to my cultural recommendation, Chaitanya Tamane. I think he has a very personal approach to it. One, because there's really their personal stories about his upbringing and in Maharashtra, and they're culturally very, very specific. And also in India, a lot of our movies are usually larger than life. They use a lot of color and music. And really, sometimes they feel like they just want to suck you in through tools of distraction. So one of the things about Chaitanya, and a friend of mine pointed this out to me, Rohan told me this, and it stayed with me, is that he kind of it's like he leaves the camera on and he just lets the film breathe. And we don't really do that as much in our Indian movies. So I think that's a really refreshing one.
Rich, the score for Poor Things was by the British indie musician Jerskin Fendrix, not his real name. I found it captivating. It's his first time composing for film. What did you think?
I really liked it because it's kind of a cartoonish score, so it goes with the kind of cartoonish style of the film. It heightens that atmosphere. It reminds you constantly that you're not in the real world. You're in this. You need to take everything for what it means, not necessarily for what it looks like.
Yes.
And that's what I think a really good score can do. That can kind of bring out the underlying ideas in the film without being really obvious about it. And that's what I loved about that score.
And we heard a little bit of that music in the clip there. Thank you both. You're with the Arts Hour. I'm Nikki Beattie. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is one of the most successful authors on the planet as the writer of the universally praised novels Purple Hibiscus and Half of a Yellow Sun. She's now turned her hand to children's literature and has imbued her first book, as ever, with her Nigerian roots. Mama's Sleeping Scarf is written under a pseudonym, Noir Grace James, as a tribute to the author's late parents. The story is about a girl named Chino, whose mother works, and so her surrounding family help care for her. When Johnny Pitt spoke to Chimamanda, he asked her how her own mother and father ignited in her a passion for stories at a young age.
my father was a very good storyteller. So I grew up, we were all encouraged to read. I mean, books were so important to my parents. I mean, and I think maybe that's obvious because we grew up on a university campus. My father was a professor, but also just sort of we talked, if that makes sense. We were a family of talkers, and maybe I don't know where this kind of passion that I have for writing came from. I've always had it. I like to think that I was born to do this. It feels like a vocation in some ways. But this particular book, I wanted it to be joyous and joyful. And I hope it's the kind of book that people read and kind of feel just ever so slightly happier. It's also about that idea that the ideal family is not necessarily the nuclear family unit. I really believe that a child needs a village. And I don't think it necessarily has to be a village created by blood, if that makes sense. It can also just be just other, loving adults in the child's life. And I had that when I was growing up. And I think, I like to think that the reason that I'm fairly, mostly well balanced emotionally is because I had that.
You have in the past been quite outspoken about the challenges facing the younger generation, especially in the internet age. How do you think as parents we can best prepare our children for an increasingly contentious and complicated world? And are you trying to do this through your writing of a children's book?
I was a very complicated, prickly teenager. And my parents did their best. And I don't know what I would have become had I had access to social media. Social media is just not made for politeness or for compassion, or it's just not. And, I think that children are so impressionable. I think teenagers are really fragile. So it is one big worry for me. And this is the other thing I think about social media, that it doesn't make room for reflection in a way I think that reading does. So in some ways, I think reading is the anti-social media. Sometimes I can't help feeling like, one of those sort of mean aunties where I'm thinking, put that phone down and go read a book. Because it will, honestly, it's going to have many more benefits for you.
Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. My guests on today's Arts Hour are Uruj Ashfaq and Rich Klein. Uruj, were you read to as a child?
Yes.
What sort of things?
I think they were just, like general, children's books, like the
English?
bedtime ones. Yes. And also my parents did buy me and my sister a lot of books because they didn't really have as much books growing up to read. So when we would go to the bookstore, they just let us get whatever we want. But the thing with my parents is that they knew fundamentally we should have books to read, but they didn't know to monitor what we were reading.
Okay.
Which is like, most parents would just see what you're picking up, but they're like, it's books, they're probably good. So we picked up a lot of trashy romance novels.
Did the covers not give them away?
They were, those vague vampire romance novels. So my parents were like, Hunted. Okay, that sounds fine. It's probably about hunters, no problem. Maybe about jungle. So.
I love it. Social media isn't made for politeness or compassion. That's what we just heard in that clip. Uruj, do you read or care about what's said about you on social media?
I read it, but I no longer care about it. I have trained myself not to, beyond a point.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's this. It's a pretty. It's kind of tricky place to be in when you're on social media, especially if you're like a female
and a comedian.
But also sometimes I just think of it and I'm like, if there's just waves of hate on my post or my joke, it adds also just feeding the algorithm and pushing my work forward. So
Yeah, good for you.
Try to look at the positives
Look
of
at it practically.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you both. That's it for part one of the show, but don't go away. Still to come, I talked to the Spanish filmmaker J.A. Bayona, director of Society of the Snow, and we'll hear from the award-winning stand-up Indian comedian Uruj Ashfaq. The Arts Hour is back after this.
This is the BBC World Service, looking into why Paris has so much football talent.
Cast your mind back to the last Men's World Cup.
30 players at that tournament were born or bred in the vicinity of France's capital.
There is so much density, there's so many players, and on top of that, most of the pitches are small. That means they touch the ball a lot.
We'll head inside the clubs that produced France internationals William Saliba and Kylian Mbappe.
You always think about football, you always talk about football, you always play football.
The fight to sign up local talent is out of control.
You speak to a family and they already have agents and the kid is only 12.
And Thierry Henry tells us about the ultimate football finishing school for Parisian talent.
You can see when a guy went to Clairefontaine with the way he plays, that speaks volume.
Paris, football's greatest talent factory. Saturday at 12 GMT.
Still to come on the Arts Hour with me, Nikki Beatty. Spanish director J.A. Bayona talks to me about his film Society of the Snow, based on the true story of the 1972 Uruguayan plane crash survivors.
One of the survivors said, "We were never better persons than in the mountain." And I think it tells you not only about being good, but also knowing yourself in a very intense way.
And Indian comedian Uru Jashpak tells me what she thinks makes her audiences laugh. That's all still to come on the Arts Hour.
BBC News with Emily Thomas. Iraq has recalled its ambassador from Tehran after describing Iranian missile attacks on targets in Kurdistan as a flagrant violation of Iraqi sovereignty. The US has criticised the strikes. Tehran claims to have destroyed an Israeli spy headquarters. Ukraine has ordered the evacuation of dozens of villages near the front line in the Kharkiv region as Russia steps up its attacks. The Russians are trying to advance on the town of Kupiansk. Health officials in the Tigray region of Ethiopia say 209 people, including children, have died of hunger in the town of Edgar Abiy alone. They renewed their warnings about starvation induced by drought and recent civil war. After his commanding win in the Iowa caucuses, Donald Trump has urged America to come together and straighten out the world. Mr. Trump won just over half the votes cast by Republicans to select their preferred presidential candidate. Ron DeSantis came second and Nikki Haley third. Israel says its troops have killed dozens of Hamas militants around the town of Beit Lahia in northern Gaza. The UN chief, Antonio Guterres, on Monday again called for the fighting to stop. Around 100 people have gone on trial in Vietnam accused of involvement in coordinated gun attacks on local government offices last year. Most have been charged with terrorism. Police in Azerbaijan have arrested a journalist and placed another in pre-trial detention. They're the latest to be held since a crackdown on independent media began in November. The Indian Supreme Court has halted plans for a survey of a 17th century mosque in the northern city of Mathura to determine if it contains Hindu religious relics. The authorities in Mauritius have lifted a curfew after downgrading the threat from Tropical Storm Belal, which has battered the Indian Ocean nation. Residents are being advised to stay indoors. BBC News.
Welcome back to the Arts Hour on the BBC World Service with me, Nikki Beatty. And if you've only just joined us, here's a rapid recap of what you missed in the first half of.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244-941-002 or 00233-2006-06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
All of you makes my heart beat. You make it all day.
Welcome.
Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands. The hand that made me.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the Morning Show. Today is the 16th day of January, the year 2024, with the time now at 10:48.
You remain dancing to the end.
And I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
From now to 12:30, I'm going to be your compere. I'm going to see to it that I bring you everything from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. It's making the headlines only. I promise you I'm going to bring it your way. But thank you very much to each and every one of you who have joined us today on the show. Let me say good morning to my colleague and complimenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. He will not be able to join us, but he sent me all the necessary stories that I need to put abroad. And all my wonderful listeners from Nigeria and all of you across the globe who are interested in what is going happening in Nigeria, I wanted to share your thoughts with me. And let me take that opportunity to say good morning to my bishop himself, Bishop Adesina. Good morning to you. I hope you are doing very well, man of God. And to your colleagues the areas of this in Lagos, Nigeria, I salute each and every one of you. Have a lovely day, and we thank God, as we say on this love of Nigeria has not happened to you. Just AJ, hey, how are you doing? A massive good morning to you. Yes, the White Lion is listening in. He cannot be live on the show, but yeah, he's working behind the scenes. So, as I just said, we are working on something to get him on pretty soon.
You
But all in all, let me say massive good morning to you. Felix, all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning. I know you are freezing like no man's business, but morning to you and to every one of you. Chasino, you are freezing like no man's business up in Russia. Moscow to be the spirit. I said massive good morning to you. Ebenezer Harmony in South Africa, good morning. Listeners in UAE, those of you in US, Anthony Adedeji Aziz, and all these wonderful people who tune in each day, making a religious thing to do all the time, listening to us, commenting and everything. I'm so grateful to you. But without you, there will be no need for me to sit here at all to bring you this program. But do me a massive favor, take another step. If I'm a preacher man, I would say take another step of faith. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Play in the background something from Edith Morrison. Yes. Great are you, Lord. What makes you great? Okay, so the program outline for you today. The first one today coming your way, then the weather forecast and the travel updates, and we'll move on from there. We'll look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's known as Global Trotting. Then from there, we'll have a look at the stories making the rounds from Nigeria this morning.
Jesus.
We'll continue from there and look at some of the other stories making the rounds on the African continent. At 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice in the discussions. Then we'll move on to other parts of the world, in the US, to where? Uzbekistan. I will bring you everything that you need to know. Okay. I told you the cousin I brought down for the end of the program. But remember this afternoon, there's going to be BB Means Business with BB Clement. So international, that's what I'm going to be saying today. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So the question today says, all who will learn to be smart and embrace hard work eventually succeed in life. All who will learn to be smart and embrace hard work eventually succeed in life. So what do you think you are doing? Are you doing anything of the sort? If you are, kudos. If you're not, you are being encouraged. Starr Radio UK. Okay, so when it comes to the weather front, well, it's quite a cold day here in London and the southeast of England. Once I was living home, it was about -3. I came to the town center, got in there, it was about -1, and now I think it's going to be rising out to about 4 degrees.
Love for you runs deep.
But this afternoon will be dry and largely bright. With plenty of windy sunshine and just the odd light patch of clouds drifting in by at times. The first part of tonight we'll see frequent clear spells and a few areas of cloud drifting by. Areas of thicker clouds are set to move from the north near dawn, but it will stay dry. A cold night expected as well. Temperature is going to be 4 degrees, the lowest will be -1, UV level low, pollution low, sunset 16:22 and sunrise for tomorrow morning, 07:59 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. It's not coming away from Starr Radio UK. All of you who want to be on the travels, especially those of you here in the UK, let me bring you the travels. But if you are anywhere across the globe, your travel this morning, it is troublesome. Yeah, or you think there's something that the public needs to know, please share it with us because we've got a worldwide listenership and it will benefit somebody, some way, somehow, right? So those of you using the underground this morning here in London, the Central District and the Central Line has got minor delays. Also, the District Line has got severe delays. The other side, all the other underground lines are running a good service. London Overground has got severe delays. And London Tramlink and DL are having a good service there as well. And that takes us straight to the major roads in London, and let me tell you what is happening on the major roads in London this morning. And I can tell you there is no exceptional delays there as well. The River Bus is also running a good service. London Cable Car, good service there. And that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. And I will say it once again, keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads as we keep you navigated, I promise, our bond. Gatwick Express that has got no service, so if you are planning to travel to Gatwick by using a train, please be advised. That aside, Avanti West Coast East Midlands Railways, First Transpennan Express, Grand Central, Great Western Railway, London North Eastern Railway, Merseyrail, Northern Rail, ScotRail, and South Western Railway have all got minor delays. So check your time before you leave. That alongside all the others are running a good service. And that is why I will say it once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comic for today. But you know what? Continue to those eyes where? On the road.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clements, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time to 4 minutes to the top of the hour. That's 4 minutes to 11. And it is the Tuesday edition of the morning show from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, so let's crack on. Well, some of the stories making the rounds this morning from Nigeria is not pleasant at all. Now, kidnappers of Abuja resident have killed 2 more victims and raised the ransom demand. The president also says for 40 years, few people cornered our Commonwealth. Tinubu is saying, the villagers flee as gunmen overrun Nigerian military camp. And I do say it all the time, how equipped our military to actually, quiet this insurgency. Shamsuddin, let me say good morning to you. He said, God bless you, Yoruba Nation. We want Yoruba Nation, and God bless you, sir. God bless you too, Shamsuddin. Now, serial promoter of mega parties APC mocks Pat Utumi and NNPCL 6 firms to operate, maintain Port Harcourt refinery is one of the stories making the rounds. And NAFDAC false reports on standard paracetamol tablets. Well, we know there are some fake ones on the market as well. Renaissance Africa Energy to acquire Shell stake in SPDC in landmark deal. And Sonia Olu signs Lagos 2.267 trillion naira 2024 budget target infrastructure, environment, education, technology, security. Well, let's see how it's all going to be panning out. Article says worsening poverty, hunger, fueling Nigeria's security crisis. So how do we deal with it? Reps Minority Caucus demand sanctions against appeal court justice over removal of plateau lawmakers. Well, when it comes to the law, well, you know what we say, evidence is the game. So maybe if they've not got the evidence and the judge has to sit there and think that, well, with everything that has been presented to me, this is what has to be, what do you do? And Wike holds emergency security meeting over kidnappings, killings in Abuja. And then hoodlums attack Unilag bus during convocation. By the worrying one, and INEC geared up for rerun of elections in Nigeria's Cross River State. Those are some of the stories making the rounds. I'm going to be bringing you more from that front. And as I did say earlier on, if you are listening to us, you have any other information that you want to share with us, feel free and just share it with us. And I promise you one thing for sure, I will acknowledge it and I will acknowledge you as well. In other stories making the rounds there as well, when it comes to other parts of Africa, I won't run again for president. George Weah is saying, my apologies. He emphasized the need for time with his family and expressed gratitude to Liberians for his presidency, pledging to promote peace and prosperity. Of course, he's got his own money before he came into power and everything. He served the highest office of the land. Well, so let him just go and just Somebody say chillax. Okay. Mauritius on high alert as Cyclone Belair approaches, and the South Africa Liga Giants return from the Hague to Heroes Welcome. And then quite an interesting one. That is not Sierra Leone, a science and leadership festival for the young. Those are some of the stories making the rounds in or on the African continent. Still other parts of Africa as well. And this time around in Ghana, Justin Kodia to appear before Manshia over Wontumi's alleged disparaging comments, and then report as a to investigative bodies if you've evidence. Governance analyst to Ken Ejapon. And Ofori Atta doesn't know the economy he's managing. John Gachi is saying there's a lot more going to be coming your way from Ghana as well. In other parts of the world, Trump hails very special night after big Iowa win. The former president has cemented his status as the front runner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. Now, the question is, should he be allowed to run at all? Because of that insurrection that happened. Some are saying, we need to leave it to the voters to decide. So, when somebody commits a crime in the country, do we have to leave it to the voters or the public to decide whether the person should be, sentenced or imprisoned or whatever? Is that what we say? So, I've been saying this. Now, if it happens that the Democrats, they go for the election and they lose the election, and then Joe Biden also stands in the same place where Trump made a statement and say, guys, these people are robbing us of our right to rule the country, and therefore we're going to go to the capital and then annul whatever thing that is going on. How would that pan out? Are you going to say, when it's on the other foot, it's different? Well, I'm saying that a bad precedent is being set, and if they continue that way, if Africans and other third world countries or developing countries, as they call them now, are behaving that way, I bet you nobody has a dog's chance to come and tell them that, look, why are you doing that? Because democracy doesn't work that way. Really? So let's see how it all pans out. And schools close as active blast brings snow and ice. Some of the stories making the rounds there. And then U.S. condemns Iran for reckless strikes on Iraq. And Ice brothers should be banned from Switzerland. And then New Zealand MP resigns following shoplifting allegations. How can an MP go and do shoplifting? Alleged to have been involved in shoplifting. I will tell you more about that. And moving on to the UK front as well. Here in the UK, Labour needs record swing to win general elections. Now, analysis shows that the effect of the new election boundaries we'll be using that the tool to look at it very well, and I'll be telling you more about that. Converted handguns fired more than real weapons in UK crimes. So they got get toys and then they convert it into proper handguns, and they said they are being used. Now, wage growth slows as UK job market begins to stall. Average pay rose by 6.6%, down from the previous 3 months, but continues to outstrip inflation. And then town hall debt level staggering. MPs warn the Public Accounts Committee warns of an extensive and long-lasting public services slow down there. And COVID inquiry turns spotlight on Scottish decision. It is the first time the hearing have taken place outside of London since it began in August 2022. This is Starr Radio UK. Prosecutors say the two British men should be jailed for stealing 14th century Ming Dynasty artifacts. Going to be quite an interesting one. What do you think? All right then, so a lot more going to be coming your way at 4 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's enjoy this music, and once we come back, I'll bring you all the details of all the stories that you need to know. My eggs, throw all my eggs in one basket. Why? Because I have faith that, though we said that don't put all your eggs in one basket, this time I threw them into one basket. Says Kofi Boham. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you.
Yeah. was told, when you want to cross the road, look left, right, and left again.
Look left, right, and left again.
If you don't do this, you could die in pain. A motor go fit to jam you insane. Ay, 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 ay. But one day I saw you when you called my name, and I took no precautions to look elsewhere. Cause I can never be a casualty in your hands, oh my Jesus, say I can never be a casualty in your hands, You have not let one person slip.
I can never be a casualty in your hands,
I am my safest with you. I can never be a casualty in your hands.
I can never be a casualty in your hands,
Nobody has been. I will not be the first. I will never be.
I can never be a casualty in your hands,
No, 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 no. Cause I have put
all my eggs into one basket.
That basket is you, Jesus. That basket is you, Jesus. That basket is you, Jesus.
That basket is you, Jesus.
Say they can call me and say,
I have made my choice.
I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan besides you. My basket is you. I have put
all my eggs into one basket.
That basket is you, Jesus.
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 Sing, they can call me and say,
I have made my choice.
I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan besides you.
My basket, Jesus.
Said it's risky to follow Jesus. I tell them leave me, it's not your business. You choose to drink beer, I choose communion. You spend your money on fun, I push the kingdom. You like to follow the girls, I love to win souls. You make your sacrifice, I choose to pay tithe. So don't advise me, think on your own life. I have made my choice for life, and I have
into one basket.
That basket is you, Jesus.
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 Sing, they can call me.
They can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I have no backup plan besides you. My basket, Jesus.
I have
all my eggs into one basket.
That basket is you, Jesus.
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 They can call me crazy, crazy, crazy.
They can call me and say, I have made my choice.
This is Radio. Hey.
I have no backup plan besides you. My basket is Jesus. I have no backup plan.
I have no backup plan besides you. My basket, Jesus.
I have no backup plan.
I have no backup plan besides you. My basket, Jesus.
You are everything I have and everything I desire.
My basket, Jesus.
If you leave me, I have nowhere else to go.
My basket, Jesus.
What you will not do for me, let it remain undone.
My basket, Jesus.
If you feel I have failed, I have no backup plan.
My basket, Jesus.
I have put
all my eggs into one basket. That basket is you, Jesus.
That basket is you, Jesus.
That basket is you, Jesus.
They can call me.
They can call me and say, I have made my choice. I will follow till the end of
my choice. I will follow till the end of the road. I put all my eggs in one basket, and it says that basket is Jesus. Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. What a time now, 10 minutes past the top of the hour, the Tuesday edition of the morning show. As I did say earlier on, Mr. Olayomi Koiki cannot be live with us, but he sent me all the necessary stories that is making the headlines this morning. Maybe you are listening to us from a community or wherever you want to think, whoa, this is breaking news that has come true, and you want to send it through for us to, share with our listeners. Why not? And I promise you to acknowledge you. Okie Anthony, are you still in Nigeria or have you left? Because yesterday he was telling me he wanted to leave, but things are tough. And he just imagine, coming from the US and with some dollars on you. You tell yourself knowing that you come into the past. Now, what about those who are there who have not got anything on them and actually scratching the bottom of the barrel? It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Nobody has been, I will not be the first, I will never be. I can never be a casualty in your hands.
Okay, let's take a quick commercial, and then once we come back, I will bring you everything that you got to know. From the update from Nigeria.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And let's go to the stories that is making the rounds this morning from Nigeria. That is updates from Nigeria. Now, kidnappers who abducted 10 people from Zagawari estate layout at Doche in Bori Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory on January 7 have killed 2 more of the abductees. However, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbotukun, said the police already initiated a comprehensive plan of action to rescue the victims. He said the force headquarters was diligently coordinating efforts to address this and prevent any further occurrence as all hands were on deck to rescue the victims. It was gathered that after killing some of the kidnapped victims, the bandits increased their demand. Residents said the victims were allegedly killed over the delay in raising the ransom demands by the kidnappers. It was also gathered that a 13-year-old secondary school student identified as Foloronsho Ariyo was among those killed. On Friday, reports emerged that the kidnappers, who also operated in some villages in Wari, had killed one of the 6 abducted persons, Nabiha Kadria, to force the family into quickly raising the ransom. Now, former Minister of Communications that I did talk about yesterday and Digital Economy, Professor Ali Pantami, on Sunday announced that he mobilized a balance of 50 million naira ransom for Al-Qadriya's family to enable them to secure the release of their remaining 5 daughters from the kidnappers following the murder of Nabiha. Meanwhile, residents of Sagari layout have perfected plans to stage a massive protest against perceived inaction of the government and security agencies in rescuing the people. However, the protest, which was initially planned for this Monday, has been shifted to Tuesday, that's today, as a result of 2024 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Also, Egbotukun said the police already initiated a comprehensive plan of action, noting that the force was diligently coordinating efforts to address and prevent any further occurrences as all hands are on deck to rescue the victims. A statement issued by Forces Public Relations Officer and Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Olumoyiwa Adejobi, said the sensitivity of the situation necessitated the discretion. As a result, specific details are being kept confidential to avoid compromising ongoing operations. Now, the NPF, that's the Nigerian Police Force, is actively engaging and contacting individuals crucial to the rescue operation and investigation. The objective is not only to bring perpetrators to justice, but also to intensify efforts in rescuing operations for victims still in captivity, he added. He further stated that in recognizing the psychological impact on affected families, the police were encouraging open communications with their operatives to provide support, information, and assistance to mitigate the psychological warfare imposed by kidnappers on the relatives and loved ones of their victims. In the meantime, Amnesty International has lamented the spate of kidnapping in Nigeria, saying that the country was facing an epidemic of kidnapping and citizens are living on a knife edge. How many times haven't we said this? In a statement issued yesterday by its media communications assistant Michael Christian, Amnesty International stated that rampant kidnapping by armed groups has become a part of daily life in Nigeria. So as somebody proceeds in the morning or say hello to their children or bye to their children when they are going to school, there's a tendency that he knows that they're not going to be coming back. So what can the government do about it? Now, the president has come out to say that the presidential candidate of the PDP, that is Atiku, has come out to say that the escalation of insecurity plaguing Nigeria to deepening poverty and hunger across the country. He said it's linked to the escalating insecurity, is linked to, deepening poverty and hunger across the country. So desperate situation calling for desperate measures. In a nutshell, that's what he wants to say there. He described the incident as sad and called on the federal government to address the dire security situation in the country. So do you think it's about time that the president now call a roundtable or conference and try to find a way forward when it comes to the security issues? Bring everybody on board and see. When I say bring everybody, I'm talking about stakeholders on board and see the way forward. Because after all, these people are not aliens coming from the skies or were dropped somewhere. No, they are people who lived in the community and now are embarking on such dangerous and such issues, disturbing and destroying the livelihood of people and taking their lives as well. He says the escalating violence and lawlessness in our nation deeply distresses me as bandits and kidnappers continue their reign of terror unchecked, Atiku said. Our youth and innocent citizens are being murdered daily. Just last Saturday, we lost Nabeha to her captors. Yesterday, the tragedy deepened with the murder of more victims, including Faronshaw Ariyu, a 13-year-old student. Now, it's obvious that the worsening poverty and hunger in the land is escalating. The level of kidnapping and insecurity in Nigeria, particularly in Abuja, the federal capital. So, if you're listening to me this morning, tell me, what do you think the federal government can do to quell this insurgency, this kidnapping and all these terrible things that is happening in Nigeria? Because the situation is, now if the forces go or gun blazing into the place where, put it this way, these people are being kept, there's a tendency that they could lose their lives. Not the security forces. They are prepared to do that, right? But I'm talking about the kidnapping, those who have been kidnapped, abducted ones. What do you think will happen to them? And what is the way forward? Is it that like a Metricon, that's the southwest, were trying to form so that they can help them, because they are people in the communities. They will know people in their communities and they will be able to stop them. Or we just sit down, look, and let it continue. That is why Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho, one of the questions why he decided to say that no, we can't sit down for certain things to be happening. Why are people coming to our area? Why are people kidnapping? Why are people killing people, destroying their livelihoods and stuff like that? And he was being pursued by the security forces. Now, if you talk about Nnamdi Kanu, who is still in incarceration, now the question is, what they are saying, is there anything wrong with that? Because they think that they are being marginalized, they are not being seen to. And then the military or the security agency think that we need to put all our resources there to help, to quell their protest or whatever they are saying that they are against. So that we just leave other communities to just go on, and people going rampaging, destroying, kidnapping, abducting, killing, and doing all sorts. What do you think? Let me hear from you. It's very interesting there. Listen to Starr Radio UK. Security issues in Nigeria worsening and worsening and worsening. Well, the president has said that in the past 40 years, a few people were cornering Nigeria's Commonwealth, and calling it subsidy. But to him, was pure wastefulness. He assured that his administration will give more attention to education and healthcare, as well as provide the enablement for industrialization and investment in consonance with his vision of creating an economically stable and prosperous country. He gave the assurance while speaking at the second term inauguration of Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State in Owerri. According to the president, he is well attuned to the concerns of citizens, assuring them that the challenges brought on by very essential reforms are being addressed. Now, right now, we are bearing and sharing that pain, but things are looking up. Things will get better for the good of all Nigerians. With me, there is hope. There is a Bible passage that says, "Stay with me, for here with me there is hope," or there is salvation. So he's saying the same thing there. But what do you think about all that? This is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, the insecurity still goes on. After the assault on the military camp, the gunmen moved into Nahuta, that is villages free, as gunmen overran Nigeria's military camp. And they say after the assault, the gunmen moved into Nahuta, where they looted shops and homes, stealing goods and livestock worth millions of naira. The attack has caused widespread panic among residents, many of whom have fled to nearby villages to seek refuge, reports have said. And let me say good morning to Vicky Newton, and a happy new year to you. Lady Queen, I've not seen you the whole of the year. It's 16 days now. That's no good, is it? We'll catch up later. Now, residents of a village in Nigeria's northwestern state of Katsina are fleeing their homes after armed men stormed a nearby military camp before setting vehicles ablaze and ransacking the area. Now, more than 100 gunmen attacked the military base, which hosts soldiers, police, and other security forces in the Batsari local government area of Katsina State on Sunday night. Now, interestingly, Katsina State is the state of the former president. So, what did he do? I mean, at least if he didn't do anything for the whole of the country, you could have done something for your state, making sure you quell the insurgency and insecurity issue that is going on. But it doesn't look like that is what is happening at all. A resident said, told our reporters that gunmen who arrived on motorcycles and a truck overwhelmed the military forces after a 3-hour exchange of gunfire. Now, after the assault on the military camp, the gunmen moved into Nahuta, where they looted shops and homes, stealing goods and livestock worth millions of naira. The attack has caused widespread panic among residents, many of whom have fled to nearby villages to seek refuge, our reporters have said. Now, armed gangs known locally as bandits who kidnap for ransom have wreaked havoc across Nigeria, killing hundreds despite numerous military operations. So, is the military in Nigeria up to scratch? Or do they need to be disbanded? And then maybe somewhere, somehow, get some other people, or maybe go into some cooperation. Maybe we need the ECOWAS, military command to come in to help Nigeria to quell whatever is happening there. It's a sad situation. Because let me tell you honestly, for all my lovely listeners and you loved ones who are in Nigeria listening to us this morning, I wake up every morning and I pray to God that you are all doing very well. Somebody say, well, it does happen. Yes, it does happen. But the frequency, okay? And here, should anything of the sort happen, I can tell you the military, the security, anything here, we don't have the military going after them. We will have the police going after you. They will find you. But when it comes to Nigeria, the police cannot do enough. The military. So what is the chance for people to thrive in their communities where they are today in Nigeria, especially? So you wake up, as I did say earlier on, and you are saying bye to your children when they are going to school, and you're not sure whether they're going to be coming back. It's a sad situation. That's what Amnesty International is saying, that this is a dire situation going on there. So, I don't know, all the military chiefs, are they going to be calling them to order? Or they are still taxiing, getting ready to take off? I thought they will hit the ground running. But that doesn't seem to be the story at all. But what do you think about all that? Listeners, Starr Radio UK, updates from Nigeria with me. Oh, sent by Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds there in Nigeria as well. And this time around, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has unfolded plans to engage credible operations and maintenance companies to operate and maintain the Port Harcourt refinery. Bidding organizations are expected to have an average annual turnover of at least $2 billion for the financial year ending 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, respectively. Now, according to the according to the SA to President Bola Tinubu on social media, Data Olusegun, the contract scope of engagement shall cover refinery business processes like long-term and short-term production operation planning, production operation execution, monitoring, reporting, optimization of operations, maintenance, execution, health and safety, environmental management, and minor projects, among others. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, did say that, well, he thinks that to get a refinery running is something that they need to forget about it, because he was thinking that there were serious underground current, let me put it that way, that is actually stopping anything good from happening or coming out from the oil refineries in Nigeria. But the president also said, well, there was one that was going to start, and that has started. It's commenced. It's all, let me put it that way, it's upstream working now. But how would we see it? But we have an individual, Dangote, who's also with his team. When I say his team, he's got other investors who have also come out with this, and we're just looking at how that is going to help Nigeria's economy as a whole, and how it's going to bring a bit of relief to residents or Nigerians as a whole. The 210 barrel per day facility is expected to be fully renovated by the fourth quarter of 2024, and with the first phase, 60,000 barrels per day now ready for production. Meanwhile, 7 major oil marketers in Nigeria have enrolled with Dangote Petroleum Refinery to distribute refined petroleum products from the 20 billion plant. Now, Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria members will initiate fuel distribution upon finalizing commercial terms. Also, he disclosed that the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria plans to discuss loading terms with the refinery. Now, Momans are registered members, including 11 PLCs, Corn Oil PLC, Adova PLC, MRS Oil Nigeria PLC, OVH Energy Marketing Limited, etc., are poised to purchase and distribute products from the refinery, which can load 2,900 trucks daily and adheres to Euro V specification. Dangote's refinery design adheres to standards set for the World Bank, US EPA, EPA, European Emission Norms, and Department of Petroleum Resources Emission effluent norms, utilizing advanced technology. Now, likewise, the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners of Association of Nigeria noted that the association has been in discussion with the management of the multi-billion-dollar refinery regarding the supply of product from the facility, he said. Now, speaking with the Nigerian Tribune, the national spokesperson of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chinedu Okadike, said the new development will foster competition and reduction in price of the product. And I'm looking at the bigger picture. How is it going to impact Nigerians as a whole? Starr Radio UK. 11:31 the time, the morning show, the program. I am Archie. Now, moving on to some of the final stories that is making the round. Some breaking news coming in from Abuja as well. Niger Inform FM has confirmed the tragic death of one of their promising staff, Deborah Ohamara. The radio station based in Abuja made this disclosure in a short statement issued on X today, noting a condolence register has been opened. The ace broadcaster was reportedly killed in a road accident that occurred along the airport road in Abuja. A very, very sad one there, and I would say may her soul rest in perfect peace. Now, so on the oil, yes, Shell is alleged to have sold some of its stake to a Nigeria onshore oil business, $2.4 billion. Now, Shell PLC has agreed to sell its Nigeria onshore oil and gas subsidiary, the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited, to a consortium of 5 companies known as the Renaissance for a total of $2.4 billion US dollars, marking the end of Shell's nearly century-long operation in Nigeria. Now, Shell aims to divert the SPDC for 1.3 billion with additional payments of up to 1.1 billion according to the official announcement. Now, SPDC Limited, which operates with a 30% stake in the SPDC joint venture holding 18 onshore and shallow water mining leases, will continue to be the operator. Other joint venture partners include Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, and that's got 55%, and Total Energies 10%, and Italy's Eni 5%. Despite exciting onshore operation, Shell retains its liquefied natural gas plant and other assets in Nigeria. The deal, announced on Tuesday, marks a major exit for Shell from a region plagued by spills, theft, and operational challenges. Well, Shell is doing everything possible to leave the country, but the question is the spills, the oil spillage, and the deals that have been cut in the past. Has Nigeria actually benefited the way they're supposed to be from it? Or a few? Wow. Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, anti-graft agency, that the EFCC is currently grilling chairman of the Federal Character Commission, Mohiba Farida, in Abuja for alleged fraud. The SEC chairman is at the EFCC headquarters, Abuja, where she is answering questions from operatives who are looking into several documents presented before them on forgery and presentation of false information alleged against the chairman. The economic and financial, it goes on further to say, the FCC chairman is at where she is answering the questions. Mohiba is currently at EFCC headquarters and undergoing interrogation on EFCC, and EFCC official said. Sahara reports also confirming the situation, said reported that the chairman was cross-examined by operatives of the Nigeria Police Force in connection to an alleged certificate scandal. And she was grilled for over 5 hours by the Nigerian police at the force headquarters, Abuja, over alleged forgery. It will be recalled that a civil society organization, Youth and Leadership Initiative, had in May 2023 petitioned the Deputy Inspector General of Police Force Criminal Investigation Department, Abuja, and alleged the Dankaka presented false information. Alleged that Dankaka presented false information to the presidency and the National Assembly to secure chairmanship of the commission. But if she did, now we have a case where the president is alleged to, but somebody says he's been cleared by the courts. But as whether he was cleared or because of some judicial gymnastics that took place there, some delays and some using all the various acrobatic things there or gymnastics in there to outwit the law, doesn't make it that it is right. So this person can also say that, you know what, I also got mine. So what? Oh, well, it's quite interesting. The examples that we seem to be setting. But okay, one final story before we move on from there. And let me quickly go to the southwest. Okay. Well, I think that is it from Nigeria this morning. I was trying to see whether I can get some of the other stories making the rounds. But it looks like the Federal Capital Minister has called an emergency meeting. It's in the person of Wike and trying to see how they can amicably solve this kidnapping issue that has gone on in that part of the world. It is Starr Radio, 11:37 the time. Your favorite African and Caribbean radio station. And we take a break, we come back, and we will look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of Africa as well. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. It is the Tuesday edition of the morning show at 20 minutes to the top of the hour, or I'll say 11:40 from the hearts of London, Star Radio UK. I am Archie, and we continue to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, but still on the African continent. And this time round, what have I got for you? Well, in other parts of Africa as well, I won't run again for president. Who is speaking? George Weah. We'll bring you more on that. And Mauritius on high alert as Cyclone Belial approaches. Well, some of the stories making the rounds there as well. And other stories. Kenya seeks rapid resolution with Tanzania after announced flight ban. Why is Tanzania banning flights from Kenya? And then South Africa Liga Giants return from The Hague to Heroes Welcome. As the ruling take place, what do you think? The petition in the court, International Court of Justice in The Hague, and let's see what is going to happen to that. But let's start the story from here. Now, Liberia's outgoing president George Weah has confirmed he will not seek re-election in 2029 following his recent electoral defeat. The former international footballer who was elected in 2017 conceded defeat in November to Joseph Boakai. Now, speaking to church congregants on Sunday near Monrovia, Weah stated that he will be 63 in 6 years. And as his retirement age is 65, he has no plans to be active in politics beyond that age. So the question is, are our leaders who are that old, so are they well informed? Are they up to scratch? Are they in touch with modernity, what is going on at the moment? Or, as some would say, you know what? They've got all the necessary advisors from various walks or fields, and therefore they feed them with information. So they don't necessarily have to be. But there are other parts of the world where we see this is able to work. The system works. Okay, so if somebody is there, he can be maybe 101 years, maybe every day dozing off. Like when it started, the Ghana president, people were accusing him of dozing or sleeping because he's tired and stuff like that. But the issue is, now if the system is working, then the person is being briefed continuously. When it comes to maybe the person acting, maybe that is where somebody will say the person is slow in acting. However, I think that with the right advisors from various walks of life or various departments, the person will be able to function very well. But when it comes to our part of the world, where it looks like the president or the leader of the country has the sole responsibility, he needs to scrutinize things and needs to go on, and where it's not his forte, he will not be able to actually even be able to, as to whether the advisor who is coming from that point is being rigorous or vigorous with whatever thing that they are doing, and not necessarily being a sycophant. How would they make right decisions? So I think that Weah's stance on this is a good one there. He said that, he said himself up that by 65 he will be going on retirement. Well, he did it. He made it in football, and he said now come the next 6 years he's going to be 63. So he doesn't envisage going on for another election. So what do you think? Should there be a blanket, a pension age for our president, especially those of us on the African countries or developing countries, let me put it that way, where we know that the systems don't actually work the way they're supposed to. But most of the time, even here in advanced countries, we do have sometimes some people just being sycophants and not actually saying what is supposed to be said because they think that, oh, we just have to let him there. But I mean, with current revelations, hindsight, we see that there were a lot of things happening, even in Bojo's premiership, where there were things going on down there, and people were trying to poke and trying to say, no, that can't be done. So at least you see that there was that debate or that discussion that has taken place. But in our part of the world, I don't see certain happening. So do you think maybe a limit on the age of people who are vying for the higher offices in developing countries should be something that could do? But somebody said, look at Tinubu. Is Tinubu older than Buhari? He looks older than Buhari. Let me put it that way. I'm not sure how old Buhari is. Those of you listening to us who are from Nigeria, you have all that information. I know that I can just Google it and get it there. But he just came in. Let's give him 6 months plus, okay? But you see the moves that he's making and everything. Somebody would think that, well, he's an older person, or let me put it, a pensioner. However, he seems to be performing better than somebody who was an ex-military person and had been there and blah, 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 yet underachieved. Maybe his supporters might think otherwise. But every information that is coming through and everything that is going on there seems to actually paint the same picture there. So, kudos upon we are. Yes, it should be an exemplary leader for the continent of Africa or the developing countries as well. So moving on to some of the other stories. A few stories, developing stories coming through, and I'm going to bring them all your way from the African front. In Sudan, Sudan entered Monday in the 9th month of the war with no politically negotiated solution at hand. The nation's government said it won't attend the January 18 IGAD Extraordinary Summit. According to a local media, Sudan Tribune, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs cited the need for face-to-face meeting between the warring generals prior to broader discussions with the regional bloc. The conflict has killed over 12,000 people and displaced millions, leaving them with no prospects. Now, Habab remembers the day the conflict broke out. At the time the war broke out, we were busy revising for exams that were scheduled after the end of Ramadan. But like many other projects we had, the war disrupted everything. So can you just imagine you were on a verge? I mean, so 9 months on. So whatever exams that the person was writing is in the universities where they were going to be writing the exams, graduate, and then get themselves some job, and the monies that have been wasted, the parents have sacrificed to be wasted on, not wasted, spent on them to come out to that point, and then everything has just been thrown out of the window. And these two factions, you ask yourself the question, what are they actually looking for? What do they actually want? It's interesting, isn't it? Well, by the factions, one faction say that they're not going to be attending. In December, more than 500,000 people fled their homes in Jazeera province in Sudan South, following the capture of the state capital by the RSF fighters. The World Health Organization says 1 in 7 children under 5 are acutely malnourished. In December, citing the rotating president of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, Agenzia Nova reported that Uganda will host the summit that should tackle the ongoing crisis between Ethiopia and Somalia and the war in Sudan. But the Sudanese are saying, we're not coming. We don't want to know. So they want the war to continue. Is that interesting one there? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, some other stories still making the rounds, interesting ones. Now, Kenya Chief Justice Martha Koome has informed President William Ruto that the judiciary has written to him addressing concerns he raised against certain judges. Ruto, that's the president of Kenya, has recently accused unnamed corrupt judges of collaborating with opposition to impede his government's projects. Now, Kum, speaking at a media conference, warned that these attacks on the judiciary could lead the country into chaos and anarchy, potentially causing a constitutional crisis. She emphasized the need for dialogue to prevent further escalation. The opposition leader Raila Odinga accused Ruto of attempting to intimidate judges, while a group of lawyers staged protests condemning the president's action. Now, Ruto, has been in office since September 2022, has faced criticism for implementing new taxes amidst a rising cost of living. Challenges to two new taxes, the housing levy, proposed universal health cover deductions, are currently awaiting court rulings. So, if the court rule that we think that it's not fair, will he accept that? I'm quite interested there, wouldn't it? Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is the morning show. Well, somebody say, if he thinks that, there are some of the judges who are in cahoots with the opposition, why shouldn't he say it? But if you think that whatever statement that you are going to make can impact the security and the stability of the country, then why do you do it? You are the leader, after all, of that country, right? Right. The final story before we branch on to Ghana as well. Now, Kenya is seeking rapid resolution with Tanzania after announced flight ban. Tanzania on Monday announced it had withdrawn approval for neighboring Kenyan flagship carrier to operate a passenger service between the countries starting next week. The Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority, on behalf of the Aeronautical Authority, said the move was in response to Kenya Civil Aviation Authority denying Air Tanzania the approval it needs to operate all cargo flights between the two countries. Now, Kenya Airways operates daily flights to Dar es Salaam. Nairobi said there should be no cause for alarm, though. We have jointly agreed that our respective civil aviation authorities will work together to have the matter resolved amicably within the next 3 days. There should therefore be no cause for alarm, Kenyan Foreign Minister Musala W. Mudavadi said. Now, this is the latest trade dispute to plague the East African Community Regional Economic Bloc. Now, Kenya has previously blocked the importation of milk from Uganda and farm produce from Tanzania. Tanzania has restricted importation of onions to Kenya, leading to skyrocketing prices for the essential commodity. Now, landlocked Uganda is suing Kenya at the East African Court of Justice for denying government-owned oil marketer Uganda Oil National Oil Company a license to operate and handle fuel imports at Kenya's Mombasa port, headed for Kampala. Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. What about Ethiopia? So all the countries who have not got they are landlocked, yeah. What do they do to the countries that have maybe they got a sea and stuff like that, so they can use their ports there? You have to be nice to them, because if they do anything, they said we shut it, we stop your we pause your contract. Then what do you do? But listeners, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Yeah, yesterday on the AFCON as well. Well, Senegal starts title defense with 3 goals win over Gambia. It's one of the stories. And South Africa legal giants return from The Hague. Okay, that's one of the stories that I should have touched on as well. And then, okay, my producer thinks I need to bring you that one, because one of the ones that we did touch on before we went on the break. Now, after growing battle in the international arena, the South African legal team finally returns from The Hague. Their tireless efforts have aimed to ensure justice and accountability prevail amidst the ongoing conflict in Gaza. In the quote, he said, you must not forget the struggle continues. This is just an episode in the long struggle. You heard Adila saying it's about 75 years of the occupation. So that struggle continues. It will not end. This week marked an important episode, but it did not mark the culmination of a very crucial turning point. We must look at the issue through a legal lens. Tembeka Nkukatobi, advocate and legal scholar, has said. As the war in Gaza reaches an unprecedented 100 days, the arrival of the South African legal team brings hope and renewed determination. The expertise and unwavering commitment to human rights have left a lasting impact on the global stage. Well, they tried something, so let's put it this way, kudos to them. Well, but as to whether we're going to get anything concrete from there, I bet that is another story for another day. But listeners, you are listening to Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. That is 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's take a quick break. Let me have a sip of some hot drink, and then we continue from there. When I say hot drink, I made tea. Please, just bear with me.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 2 minutes to the top of the hour. That's 2 minutes to 12. Let me announce the lines open. 0208133257 is the number. If you want to text or WhatsApp, at 0753966617. Or for our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. info@starradiouk.com. So make sure your dials are logged in and you get in touch with us. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds on the African continent, this time around notably in Ghana. And then we will come to which part as well? Other parts of the world. But after Ghana, I'll bring you some music before we come there. I know you are salivating for some music, right? Okay. All right. Trying to get some other stories from Ghana. Okay. Okay. So from Ghana, Cecilia Dapa's trial adjourned to January 25. Some stories making the round, and Ghana, Zambia to emerge from foreign currency debt default in 2024. That's what Fitch is saying. And Chief of Army Starr says he has been attacked over allegations he has been offered a CDS job. Okay, we'll be looking into that. We only grant honeymoon period if next government avoids unnecessary expenditure. UTAG UG to Mahama. If they said if they were a honeymoon period, I mean, for government, if they avoid unnecessary expenditure. Now, the other time I did was it last Friday? No, last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, because 2 days I was off. Last Wednesday, I did talk about the fact that the president of Nigeria, Tinubu, has come out to say that now he's cutting the number of entourages who go on foreign trips, and so he's doing something that you can see that other leaders didn't do at their time or in their time in office. Now, do you think that when we say, you know what, we are in hard times, and therefore we want citizens to run with us or to be with us in that, as the then Prime Minister, now Lord Cameron, they say at the time, say that let's tighten our belts. We're all tighten our belts. But along the line, we find out some people were losing in theirs as well. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that there? It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? But well, that's what they are saying there, that if a new president or new administration takes the helm of the of governance in Ghana come the election 2024, so come January 5th or 6th, when is the inauguration day, January 2025, and does not go on an unnecessary expenditure, then they will say that they're going to give that person a honeymoon. But if you come on and straight on just blowing and buying all sort of vehicles and getting how many appointees in the presidency and all stuff, then they're going to be coming out, all out for you. That's quite an interesting one, but I will bring you more on that in a moment. Let's start on that one first, though. That's what my printer is saying. Okay? Now, labor unions are asserting their commitment to providing relief and flexibility to the next government, but under specific conditions. They insist that such support will only be possible if the political party aligns its expenditure with valuable resources and avoids unnecessary spending. Flag bearer for the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, has sought a honeymoon period from Ghanaians, especially trade and labor group, in the event of regaining power. So he's gone out to say, you know what? Let me negotiate with you before I hit the ground. So you know what? When I come to power, or when I come into office, or when I resume office, please, you give me some honeymoon period, because things are tough and I need to put things together or nicely to arrange things nicely. So he's saying that, you know what, you're gonna give me a honeymoon and I'll make sure I deliver on my promise. And they said, fine, provided you don't go spending like no man's business unnecessarily, then we will give you that time. Don't think this is a good thing? But speaking at the Campus Connect event in Hohoi, the National Democratic Congress flag bearer emphasized the need for time to revive the economy before addressing specific demands. And he says, and you will realize the harm that the NPP administration has done to Ghana's economy. This country is broke, and so we will beg you that when we come into office, give us a bit of honeymoon. Let's put things in place so that we bring the economy back onto its feet. But looking at the NPP's candidate, that is the vice president, and I don't know who his running mate is going to be, and the various other parties, and the current the flag bearer for the NDC, that is John Dramani Mahama. Who do you think is going to fare well in that election? Or is it that, well, as is being said here, that the Conservatives actually had run their period in office, and therefore there's a tendency, looking at all the polls and stuff like that, we see that Labour can win or it is Labour's to win. Or as we put it, it's Labour's to lose. Let me put it that way. So if they mess up, then they will lose it. But everything seems to be that they are doing very, very well in the polls. However, Fitch is saying that Ghana and Zambia is to emerge from foreign currency debt default. So that means that they put something off, they've done something right, haven't they? Now, rating agency Fitch expects Ghana and Zambia to emerge from default on their foreign currency debt in 2024. In the regional sub-Saharan African Sovereign Outlook 2024, it stated that the two countries will come good in terms of restructuring their debts. We forecast gradual fiscal consolidation due to financing constraints and fiscal reform efforts, which in many cases are linked to IMF international programs. The consolidation will help government debt or GDP to broadly stabilize. We expect Ghana and Zambia to emerge from default on their foreign currency debt in 2024, although in both cases the debt restructuring process under the common framework is vulnerable to further delays. It added. The UK-based firm continued that the macro outlook for sub-Saharan Africa in 2024, including Ghana, points to stable median real gross domestic product growth and lower average inflation, which nonetheless remains high across a number of sovereigns. The macro outlook for sub-Saharan Africa in 2024 points to stable median real GDP growth and lower average inflation, which nonetheless remains high across a number of sovereigns. Fitch, however, expects financing challenges to persist as most sub-Saharan African sovereigns do not have affordable access to international capital markets without credit enhancement. It stated that multilateral funding will remain a key support more broadly across the region. However, risks remain titled, or let me take that bit again. It said that multilateral funding will remain a key support more broadly across the region. However, risks remain tilted to the downside. So it's easier for them to go down rather than emerging the way they are talking about. But I think it all depends on what government is going to be doing about that. What do you think? Well. Already UK. Let me touch this on this one pertaining to the elections, and then we will come to others. Now, the Seventh-day Adventist Church is making a strong case for an amendment to the December 7 election. The church, in separate petitions first to the Electoral Commission, says elections would have to be moved from the conventional December 7 because the date falls on a Saturday, which will conflict with Sabbath, a holiday dedicated to the worship of God. The church says the first or second Tuesday will be more convenient to promote inclusive democracy. So this is the case that day. How many? Somebody say, how many of the SDA are of voting age? Let me put it that way. What percentage do they represent when it comes to the voting numbers or those on the electoral roll in Ghana? In anticipation of changing the date for general election from December to the first or second Tuesday of November, the leadership of the leadership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church met with the Electoral Commission on Wednesday. The church proposed to the EC a change from December 7 date to the first or second Tuesday on November in a general election year. In an exclusive interview, Women's Ministry Director at the Seventh-day Adventist Church South Ghana Union Conference, Solace Osafo, explained that it is the hope of the church that elections will not be held on any religious day in Ghana. Meanwhile, the church is taking additional steps by sending another petition to the Attorney General and pushing for an amendment of the constitutional provision which restricts the period of organizing parliamentary and presidential elections in Ghana. So what do you think? Well, if we have some traditional worshippers who also think that Tuesdays are days that they don't go to sea, they don't go to the farm, they have to stay at home, and that is when they also. So if they also say, you know what, we think that we are being not good, properly represented, so we also don't want the Tuesday. Then what is the hope? What's the point? But it's quite an interesting one, don't you think so? Well. Will they change? And would that bring about any change if they decide congregants of the SDA decide that the members of SDA decide that they're not going to vote at all? How would that impact the results of the election? Or should there be a special dispensation for them so that maybe they vote on Friday or on Thursday, and then the others vote on the other day? Well, listen, let's start ready, okay? 11 minutes past 12 the time. We've got about another 19 minutes to bring the program to a close. But let me bring you this story, and then we'll come to other parts of the world. Chief of Army Staff says he has been attacked over allegations he has been offered the CDS job. A Chief of Army Staff Major General Thomas Opompepra has refuted rumors claiming that he has declined an appointment as the Chief of Defense Staff. According to the highly ranked army officer, although the rumors were untrue, they had exposed him to unnecessary attacks. Now, the name of Opompepra is stirring stomachs and heads and creating fear in people. I don't understand why, and so I've been attacked and they keep attacking me. Even this morning, just before I got here, a publication was sent to me where it is being indicated that I have refused to accept the appointment of CDS, and as a result, there's a stop in the military shakeup. His comments come barely 2 weeks after the presidency released a statement debunking rumors which claimed it intended to undertake a politically motivated shakeup in the country's military hierarchy to give the ruling party an advantage in the 2024 general elections. But what do you think is going to happen there? Let's enjoy this music, and then I will be back to bring you the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. And this is from the Zongo Man. He says the problem of Africa.
The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Them all go to universities. Universities award them degrees. Big degrees. Degrees. Big degrees. MSc in stealing. Bachelor of Arts, mismanagement. Another degree. Masters in looting. MSc in corruption. Bachelor of Science, nepotism. MSc in 4 years. Another degree. Bachelor of Arts in discipline. MSc in embezzlement. The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who Some of them went to London, London School of Fools, where they were awarded degrees.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so the problem of Africa is the greed. Don't you worry, I'll bring you the full version at the tail end of the program. But for now, let's move on. Since we have just got about another 15 minutes to bring the program to a close this morning. So wherever you are, I Starr Radio UK. I hope that you're enjoying the program wherever you might be. And let's, as they say, move on to other parts of the world. A Kenyan court leader is facing terror charges over death. Paul Mackenzie is accused of being behind the deaths of some from starvation of more than 400 people. That is a cult thing, whether it's a church, where he said it's a church and he put the people in the bush and the people starved to death. I mean, when they do that and these people just go on just living their lives doing all sorts. That is all one of those. I think that is about time that people know God for themselves, so that when these leaders are just making them behave in a unruly way that is not biblical, they can rise up and challenge them. But you know what they say? Do not touch my anointing and do no harm to my prophets. And therefore, always people are quiet. And especially in Africa, we are timid because most of us, it's nowadays that you go to, at home, you're not supposed to speak until you are spoken to. In classrooms, you don't speak when a teacher is speaking. You don't question what they are saying. At times, some they are saying, you think that, whoa, wait a minute. But how dare you go question them? And that seems to be something that we grow up with, and it impacts us negatively. Well, so I think that religious followers of some of these leaders should be able to scrutinize and have that the spirit of God that actually gives you, that tells you if this person is the right person doing the right thing or not. You can pray and you can have that. That's another story for another day. But it is Starr Radio UK. Now, Donald Trump has won a landslide victory in the Iowa caucuses, cementing his status as the clear frontrunner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. Now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who campaigned relentlessly in the state, urges out former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley to take a distant second place. Now, Trump has hailed his very special victory, telling reporters he wants to straighten up the problems of the world. Now, Iowa is the first of the state-by-state contests where Republicans voters pick their White House candidate. Now, next up is New Hampshire, and the candidates are heading there today ahead of the primary next Tuesday. Meanwhile, biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy drops out of the race and endorses Trump. He had caused a stir in early debates but failed to gain traction. Whoever wins the Republican nomination will face a Democratic, almost certainly Joe Biden, in the November presidential elections. And what do you see the chances of them? Now, do you think Trump should be allowed to run the way he wants to, especially with the insurrection and everything that went on? Because I am continuously talking about the precedent that has been set, and he making statement that when he becomes, or if he wins the election, he's going to pardon all those who were involved in that insurrection thing that took place in Capitol. Almost 3+ years ago? Well, but as I said, he didn't want to be a president, or he didn't want to involve himself in politics per se. However, if he wanted to, then he was going to join the Republicans. Why? Because they think that they don't scrutinize things, as I was talking about this court leader a moment ago there. So, He is our man. So, as he said, if he takes a gun and shoots people, still you have support. Now, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has said unification with the South is no longer possible, and that the constitution should be changed to designate it the principal enemy. Mr. Kim also said 3 organizations dealing with the reunification will shut down. State media KCNA reported. Now, South Korea's president said it will respond multiple times stronger to any provocation from the North. Two Koreas have been divided since the Korean War ended in 1953. They did not sign a peace treaty and therefore have remained technically still at war ever since. In a speech delivered at the Supreme People's Assembly, North Korea's rubber stamp parliament, Mr. Kim said the constitution should be amended to educate North Koreans that South Korea is a primary foe and invariable principal enemy. He also said that if a war breaks out on the Korean Peninsula, the country's constitution should reflect the issue of occupying, recapturing, and incorporating the South into its territory. Mr. Kim, who replaced his father Kim Jong-il as North Korean leader in 2011, said the North did not want war, but we also have no intention of avoiding it. He said he was taking a new stand on North-South relations, which include dismantling all organizations tasked with reunification. Now, speaking to his cabinet on Tuesday, South Korea's President Yoon Suk Yeol said that if the North carried out a provocation, the South will retaliate multiple times stronger, pointing to the South Korean military's overwhelming response capabilities. Now, Dr. John Nielsen, right, who has Japan and Korea's program at Cambridge University Center for Geopolitics, described Mr. Kim's remarks as unprecedented and said it was highly unusual for a North Korean leader to depart from the policy of unification. It is not unusual for relations between the North and the South to cool, but this has taken the relationship in a different direction. He added that Mr. Kim's anti-Western stance can be tracked back to 2019 summit with the then U.S. President Donald Trump in Vietnam, which ended without an agreement. This has been an acute disappointment and loss of faith for Kim, Dr. Nielsen Wright has said. So tensions seem to be rising there. And what hope is there for them all? This is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. US has condemned Iran for reckless strike on Iraq. The US has condemned Iran over ballistic missile attack near Iraq's northern city of Erbil, calling them a reckless and imprecise set of strikes. Now, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said they struck what they claim were Israeli spy headquarters in Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdistan region. Now, 4 people were killed and 6 wounded in Monday's attack, according to the Kurdistan Regional Security Council. Now, Iraq denounced the attacks, calling them a violation of its sovereignty. Israel's government has not commented on the Iranian claims. In a separate development, Kurdistan authorities said on Tuesday morning they had shot down 3 armed drones flying over Erbil Airport, where U.S. and international forces are stationed. Reuters reported authorities did not provide information on damage or casualties. The Iranian strikes come amid rising tension in the region since the war between Israel and Iran-backed Palestinian group Hamas broke out in the Gaza Strip on the 7th of October. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In the UK front as well, information coming through some of the stories. Now, the debt mountain at UK councils has reached staggering levels, posing a risk to local services, the Public Accounts Committee has said. Information coming through say UK councils owe a combined £97.8 billion to lenders, equivalent to £1,100 per person as of September. The committee chair, Meg Hillier, warned of an extreme and long-lasting effect if more councils go bust. Now, council leaders say years of underfunding have forced them to invest in commercial ventures. The comments come as town hall leaders have started to reveal stark draft budget for the coming financial year. Now, major cuts are being planned at Thurrock, Woking, and Nottingham City councils, all of which have effectively gone bust for the last 2 years, at least in part due to failed commercial investment. Now, leaders at Thurrock, which reported a financial black hole of £169 million in 2022 and debt reaching £1.4 billion, said they would have to make successive large cuts over the next 3 years to break even. Now, Dame Meg said there were driving factors behind councils borrowing large sums, such as squeezed spending power and aging population. But she said the amount spent paying off these debts or those debts risks hampering the ability to pay for vital services in the future. Some of the outlier examples of high local authority debt are staggering, she said, and the impact on services for residents is liable to be extreme and long lasting. Very scary, isn't it? And it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. But wage growth has slowed as UK job market begins to stall. Average pay rose by 6.6%, down from the previous 3 months, but continues to outstrip inflation. One of the stories says there as well. And then let me bring you this one before I bring you anything pertaining to elections. Now, prosecutors have called for 2 British brothers to be banned from Switzerland for 5 years as punishment for their role in raiding a museum of iconic Chinese Ming Dynasty artifacts. At a court in Geneva on Monday, Stewart and Louis Ahen confessed to being a part of a gang which burgled the Museum of Far Eastern Art in June 2019. On top of the ban, prosecutors Marco Rosia said the court should jail the brothers for 4 years. They will be sentenced on Tuesday, that's today. Mr. Rosia told the court the brothers, who are from Southeast London, and a third man named in court by lawyers as Daniel Kelly, were all equally involved in the burglary. He said Louis Ahen carried out reconnaissance of the museum while his older brother Stewart hired a Renault Captur car out of his name, which he then drove to and from the scene of the crime. Louis Ahen booked the hotel room, the ski masks, and clothing used in the burglary. Mr. Rosia said everything was prepared and organized. Everything was very quick. Well. Unfortunately, they were caught. Okay, final story, and then we bring the program to a close. And this around general elections. Labour will win. Will need record swing to win. The Labour Party will need a record swing in votes at the general election to win a majority in the House of Commons, according to analysis of the new electoral map. The next election will be fought on new constituency boundaries, redrawn to reflect population changes and to try to even out voter numbers in each area. An analysis of these changes says Labour needs a national swing of 12.7% to win with just a small majority. That's considerably higher than the 10.2 achieved by Tony Blair in 1997 and higher even than the 12 achieved by Clement Attlee in 1945. The swing from the Conservatives to Labour will need to be uniform to follow the same pattern everywhere, with other parties seeing no change in performance since 2019. In practice, the picture will be more complicated. So, but a uniform national swing has been reliable model for general election in the UK over a long period of time. So should an election be called today? Who are you going to be voting for? That is the question. And I want you to take with you and think about it until I come your way tomorrow once again with another edition of the morning show. So stay tuned. Don't you go away. Let's take this commercial and then I bring the program to a close. Stay tuned. Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa will provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Okay, so let me say thank you very much for joining us today on the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Time now 12:32. I'm bringing the curtains down for the end of the program, but tomorrow, God willing, I'll be back with the Wednesday edition of the morning show, and I'll be hoping to see you right there. So on behalf of the team, the production team, those who are working behind the scenes, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, Mr. Francis Gayi, and all you wonderful people who joined us today, I want to say have a wonderful day. God bless, and I'll see you all tomorrow. But remember, at 1:30 we'll be having BB Clement on BB Means Business. So stay tuned and don't you go away. But enjoy this song from Kofi Boham, and it says broken pencils still writes. If you think that, well, you are going through some challenges and you think that nobody's gone through that, anything that you want to throw in the towel, I want you to understand that it doesn't matter how bad, whatever name they give to you, whatever, how bad people will write you off. Even when you're on the ground, you can still do something. Broken pencils still writes. When that song ends, you don't hear from me. It's been me, Archie, saying, have a top of the day and bye-bye for now.
Alright. This is a letter to the broken. Yeah.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Don't get discouraged. I see you fighting all the demons in your life that have.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
Don't be dismayed. I know you think that your dreams and everything that you hope for seem to be late. Looks like your problems don't seem to go nowhere. Just take a deep breath. People talk about you, it's got you feeling down and really stressed. Don't tell me you don't know the trouble that I've been going through. You self don't know, see, The same thing they go through, me self, and they go through too. Who told you the lie? When you fall, it's the end of your life. I heard a whisper from above. I pray it opens up your eyes. Broken pencil still write, so keep on writing.